right, more about Fulcrum. So if you make sure you save and exit when you're done with your app. So now we have a designed app. This app doesn't have any data in it, so let's go look at one that does. If you're anywhere in Fulcrum and you want to get backwards, you can just click on the Fulcrum logo up in the top left and it'll bring you back to your main page. Let's find one with some records. All right, Chestnut Orchard with 110 records. If you click on the app, normally you have a list of all the records that are in there, and then you have these options. We were just in the designer, so we can click on the designer and go look at what was her collection. And like I said previously, we didn't collect that many things for each app, but so this is she had a few things in here. But we've already talked about that. And so the other things you can look at is, number one, you can look at the records. And records is just another term for rows in a database. Each row is a record. Remember that? And you can filter by when they were collected, if you check on a box. And you can look at the results. So if you scroll down, this is all of the different trees that she collected and all of their numbers. And you can click on this button up here to pop a map. So you do half map, half records. And what happened was all the records went away because I'm not looking at them anymore, but you can click on this little button here and it will zoom you back to your points. And once you're looking at the points, it will populate the table below. But this can be a helpful way to look at your data. And again, those 3 layers here, you can click and turn on a map. So once you're done collecting, you can come in here and investigate your data. If you click on one point in particular, it will pop open the form that you made, and you can look at it. You can edit it if you need to with this button here. You can move around the point. And as you hover over them, you can see you can investigate any of them on your map. But then you can also download data. So you can either click this button here to download your data as a shapefile or as a geodatabase. Why does that not have a geodatabase? Well, we'll see. Use the other export tool. We could do it with the shapefile, but let's go back and I'll show you what. So the other 2 options are importer and exporter. So you can export data and you can import data. That's like we were saying, if you wanted to import one, you could do it here. And it's pretty easy. You would just update existing or create new records. And then you could browse to a file that was a zip file containing a shapefile, and it would just pull it in. And if it would walk you through the process of mapping the fields. So if you had data already in there, you could tell it what field the things should go in. So I don't do much of this, just I haven't in the past, but that's definitely possible. And then the exporter, you can see here it says file geodatabase, but it didn't in that other list. And so you would just pick file format, Esri file geodatabase.gdb. It's our preferred format. And I could filter it by when it was collected, and I could download the photos as well. But you don't have to download the photos. You can just download the points if you want. And then it's got all of the different apps, and you can just select which app you want to export. It's already selected because I came here through that app page. And then I just do next, and I do finish, and it just takes a minute, and their servers push a file to this little page here, and then you can download the geodatabase. So that's really it's pretty simple, like we opened Fulcrum, designed an app that has 6 things in it. We go out and collect the data, and then we can come back in here and export it, and we can open ArcMap and bring that in. You can see this little, it was spinning and now it's got a download. And so I just click download and I can, oops, I can click download and I can take that and I can put it into our class folder. And then I can open ArcMap, and you can see it's just, we'll look at what the data looks like in ArcMap, because the data in ArcMap is going to look very much like it did when we looked at it in this designer here. When we look at the records here, sorry, not the designer, when we look at the records. So you can see this table of data, and you can see it on a map. And then let's compare. When we put that on here, one point file and a file view database, right? We pull that in, we have a bunch of points, and then if we open the attribute table and we dock it on the bottom, we're going to have just about the same thing. So we have our, so you see when we pull it out, now it shows us the Fulcrum ID, which is like this long string that everything you collect gets its own ID. You can see the time it was created. You can see when you pull it out, it also has created by and updated by, where here we only have updated by. So it kind of adds a little bit of helpful information when you pull it out. And latitude and longitude, it's important. But then on the right side, you finally get to the things that she collected about each one, the tree number and the tube type, and whether or not there's a vole and stuff like that. So then I guess the last thing to say would be, of course, when you're in ArcMap, you could start using the things that you collected in the field to label your map. For example, on the I'll show you a good number symbol. Would be if you go to symbol and you go to edit symbol and you go to advanced text background, and you give it a box, and then you go to symbol. Wait, no, you go to this rounded one. I think this is what I want. No, I want marker text background, and I want it to be a ball, not that one. I'm gonna make it really small, actually. And then I want a scale marker to fit text, and then I want to make this pretty small. So it's already pretty small, but I can make it smaller, and I can save it. And then, oh, it's putting the Fulcrum ID, so I didn't change what field it's labeling on, which we want to do tree number. So now we got nice little balls on the trees to say what number they are. But then we can also, if we use Maplex, we can go to labeling, use Maplex. We can say that we want to put the ball on top of the point. Position, center. And now it's always going to be on top of it, unless it's conflicting with another one, which will move it off. But it's kind of a good trick. I've used that one before. But you could also, of course, color this by the tube. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do symbology. Categories, tube, and then I make this a little bit bigger so it shows up behind the ball. And now you can see which ones are the different types, and you can see the number. So anyway,